got a special guest with us here, Larry Warren. Nice to have you on, Larry.
Hey, nice to be here.
Long time since we've had. Have you ever been on WSKI?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Better late than never after all these years. How about that? Now, Larry, the reason we asked you to come on is because there's been a bit more in the irregular lately about the developments with some trails, which could really be interesting as an economic development for our region, let's face it. But all of us who are recreationists are just kind of curious to what you have going on and where it's going to go and when it might happen and how it will affect all of us who live here. So what's the project?
Well, the skinny on this one is it's a development that parallels Main Hudson Trails. I was asked to get involved in the updated plan for the scenic byway from Kingfield to Coben Gore. And as we began the conversations about that scenic byway, I suggested that we create a parallel people-powered trail that basically could connect Kingfield and Eustis into Main Hudson Trails, and then follow up along the Dead River to Coben Gore, and to tie into Woburn, Quebec, and into the Sentiers Frontalier. So this summer, it's taken about a year and a half to work through the planning process with the Bigelow Preserve and the Bureau of Parks and Lands to gain access through the Chain of Ponds public lot. But that's now behind us. So this summer I'll be working to connect Stratton Brook Pond Hut to the town of Stratton, and to tie, put a spur trail hopefully into the school.
Is that cutting a brand new trail, or is there somewhat of a trail already in place?
Well, there's portions of trails in place. Main Hudson Trails will be connecting to the Bigelow Preserve, and we'll be upgrading the snowmobile trail for hiking and mountain biking to tie into the Carrabassett Region New England mountain biking trail system that's been evolving in the valley. And then we'll be starting in Chain of Ponds, basically to connect from Chain of Ponds down through to Alderstream Township. So that'll be about a 12-mile section.
So that's all the land which is on the public lands already?
Well, it's public lands, but we're also entering into an agreement with John Malone. John purchased the former International Paper properties, and he's agreed to give us a license agreement on a trail that will go through Chain of Ponds, Jim Pond Township. He owns about half of Eustis and about 3/4 of Copeland. So that agreement is basically going to tie us right close to the preserve. And then from the preserve we tie into Main Hudson Trails. From the Main Hudson Trails system, it'll take us down close to Kingfield. And now I'm working with Walter Kilbreth, who's doing an expansion project on ARC Enterprises, and we'll be creating a TIF for that project, and we hope to basically put a bridge across the Carrabassett Valley and extend the trail system from Kingfield up along the Carrabassett River into Poplar Stream Falls Hut area.
Replacing the current bridge, which is not usable anymore on Poplar Stream in the valley, or
well, this would be in
somewhere?
Kingfield.
Okay. Up from town?
Up from town, almost across the street from Main Hudson Trails office.
Oh, no kidding.
It'll be
so
on
that would be a recreational bridge, similar to the one in Carrabassett already?
Very much so.
Right.
We're working with the Kingfield Snowmobile Club, and the Jordans have agreed to let us use their properties for trailhead parking. And we'll have a multi-use bridge across the river. Mark Wall and Lloyd Cutler own some land there, and Adrian Brochu, and we're back at the table with the Penobscot Indian Nation. So,
right. Well, awful lot of fingers involved in this pie. Andy's been putting the PowerPoint presentation on and off. Did you want to start from the beginning and have a little bit of a run through so people understand what this project is, Larry? Would that suit you best?
Well, yeah, that'd be fine.
Would that work, Andy? There you go. Okay, take her away.
All right. Well, Longfellow Mountains Heritage Trails is an independent nonprofit corporation, but in effect it's an extension of Main Hudson Trails. Maine Hudson Trails is a 200-mile trail that is planned to extend from Moosehead Lake to the Mahoosucs near the New Hampshire border west of Bethel. As that project develops, it's anticipated that neighboring communities would want to tie into that trail network. Longfellow Mountain's Heritage Trail is the model on how communities can tie in, extend the core trail to their schools, businesses, and provide access to the huts for their residents, non-resident property owners, and their communities. The communities can be an important part of this nature-based tourism project which we're developing for the state of Maine. The trail we are planning from Kingfield to Coben Gore first ties Kingfield and Eustis into the hut systems, and secondly, it will connect to the Canadian border at Coben Gore and welcome our Canadian neighbors to this emerging resource we are developing in this region. As it does so, it will incorporate the history, art, and culture of these communities into the fabric of the extended trail network through interpretive signage along the trail, physical connections to the historical and cultural resources of the region, and a theme-based trail that will educate and inform trail users as they hike, ski, or mountain bike along the trail. The interpretive panels are anticipated to focus on the history and significant individuals who contributed to the fabric of these local communities. In Kingfield, a major focus will be on the narrow gauge railroad that was developed in an amazingly short time at the turn of the 1900s. Also, the Stanley brothers, who invented the Stanley steamer and the dry plate engraving process, and their sister, Chansonetta, a renowned photographer of the time who captured much of the transference of the rural economy and the rural landscape in Kingfield at that time. And of course, we'll have to bring Amos Winter and his crew into the scene for this adventure that he started called Sugarloaf. In Eustis, we'll be focusing on the Arnold Expeditionary March from Cambridge to the ill-fated attack on the British troops in Quebec City in 1775. The history of the Dead River sporting camps and their traditions, and the beginning of Maine's renewable energy industry with Central Maine Power Company and Walter Wyman's focus on hydro power and the events that led to the flooding of the town of Flagstaff will all be part of the panels that run along the Dead River north towards Coben Gore. You might ask, what's motivating all of this nature-based tourism at this point in time? And I think the major focus now has been a change in the land ownership group in Maine that has changed from the traditional paper companies who for years didn't sell land, now to an investor group that is more willing to engage in land and easement sales. The availability of philanthropic support and public funds to assist in land acquisition has also been a major change in the success of land conservation and support for nonprofit projects focused on ensuring public access to private lands. We are fortunate to have landowners like John Malone, Plum Creek, Central Maine Power Company, the Penobscot Nation, Brookfield, and so many others who have made these opportunities possible over the recent past. It's incumbent on us to recognize the potential and capture it while the opportunity exists. Our worldview has long recognized the European, Scandinavian, and New Zealand models for nature-based tourism. The national traditions of these countries has long embraced open space, social interaction at remote huts and lodges, and an active and healthy lifestyle that embraces the outdoors. The nature-based tourism and hut-to-hut concept is relatively new to North America, but it's a concept we feel will thrive and endure into the future. The country of New Zealand prides itself in its national values of conserving 60% of its land, while at the same time providing over 8,000 miles of trails for hiking, approximately 1,000 backcountry huts, abundant opportunities for fly fishing, fjord exploration, hang gliding, bungee jumping, mountain biking, jet boat touring, surfing, skiing, snowboarding, sailing, scuba diving, snorkeling, kayaking, and just about every other adventure sport known to mankind. It is that conservation face that they so proudly display to the rest of the world, and that statement of values that makes that place so intriguing and inspiring for us to try and emulate and to adopt for our region, in our communities, in our children. The Carrabassett Region New England Mountain Bike Program has also been working with Maine Huts on Trails in creating an integrated trail network to the huts. The town of Carrabassett Valley has provided financial support for this activity, and we hope that that community will continue its meaningful commitment to see these programs grow and foster for our future. The county governments in Franklin and Somerset have captured millions of dollars in economic development programs and are now recognizing the importance of nature-based tourism for the region's future. Maine Huts and Trails has raised and invested millions of dollars in the beginning of the hut system and is committed to continue the development north to Moosehead and south to Bethel in the years ahead. We hope that you, the public, will take the time to come out and use and experience our facilities. They are truly remarkable and pass through the most beautiful sections of the state of Maine. Today, you can cross-country ski on groomed trails from Sugarloaf to the Forks and stay at 4 beautiful lodges that provide 3 meals a day, great company, and world-class accommodations in the backcountry. This summer, you'll be able to mountain bike the same region and hike or ride from Carrabassett Valley to Eustis through the Bigelow Preserve. If all goes as planned, you'll be able to travel from the Canadian border to Kingfield within 4 years. We hope that you will become members of our organizations and financially support these efforts. We hope you will be encouraging your communities to recognize and support the potential and support this investment for our community's future. Also, recognize the significant magnitude of these projects. Maine Huts and Trails plans to extend 200 miles from Moosehead Lake to Bethel, a distance comparable to traveling Interstate 95 from Augusta, Maine to Providence, Rhode Island. The Coben Gore to Kingfield Trail is 56 miles long. That's the same distance as traveling from here to Augusta. The area encompassed by these projects is enormous. Its natural beauty and the wilderness character is exceptional. Its potential for establishing a unique, world-class resource of international significance is enormous. We have purchased 20 miles of the Lower Dead River, acquired miles of frontage on Flagstaff Lake, are working to conserve the Upper Dead River from Flagstaff to and through Chain of Ponds, and developing partnerships with the Penobscot Nation, the Trust for Public Lands, and the Arnold Expedition Historical Society. We don't know how long this window of opportunity will remain open, but we feel that we must capture that potential now, while it's available. We feel that years from now, future generations will be in awe of what we are accomplishing. The beauty we are preserving, and the nature and network of the trails and huts we are developing for recreation, conservation, and environmentally responsible and sustainable economic development.
Well done. A+.
It's been a labor of love.
How about if we take a quick break and then we'll come back and ask you more questions about how you're going to get this all done.
Okay.
Okay.